Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I filmed a vlog yesterday going to some antique stores and bookstores and random miscellaneous places. So accompany me if you will, and I'll show you all the cool stuff I bought. So we started off at an antique store and I just had the feeling that I was gonna buy something. I came across this really cool edition of Harper's Bazaar from 1898. It had a ghost on it and it was about All Hallows Eve. Unfortunately, it was in really bad shape and had a lot of tape on it, so I decided to leave it. What immediately caught my eye were these gorgeous box cameras, because if you know me, you know I love box cameras. I always check to see what film these cameras take, and this one was 120, which is very easy to come by these days, so I decided, hey, maybe I'll buy it. I did notice that there's some damage along the side, which could let light in, but I think if I use some electrical tape when I actually go to take photos, there shouldn't be a problem. So I thought that was it. I found what I wanted to buy, but then going to a different section of the store, I found another box camera, a No. 2 Brownie in great condition. And then I thought that was it, but then I found a beautiful stereoscope, and yeah. I did not expect to spend that much money at an antique store, the very first place we've stopped, but they had like all my things. They had old box cameras and an old stereoscope, so what are you gonna do? So I actually own 2 box cameras already. One is the No. 2 Brownie. I made a whole video about this where you can see the process of taking pictures with it and how the pictures turned out. I will link to that below. I also have the Rainbow Hawkeye No. 2. I made a video about this just for my Patreon, so you can see the process of taking photos and how those photos turned out. I adore them both. Just aesthetically though, the one thing I don't love is that with my No. 2 Brownie, it doesn't have a strap at the top. It's been lost to the sands of time. I bought it without the strap. But seeing a No. 2 Brownie with a strap, I need to put this to the test, take pictures with it, make sure the photos come out before I can say that this is my No. 1, but I'll always love this one too. We also have this Spartix camera. I had not actually heard of this. It does have a strap, which is nice. It's very cute, feels very retro. I need to do some more research on when this was made. It's definitely a more modern box camera than the Brownie. So cute. This is the stereoscope. Beautiful, adorable. If you're unfamiliar with stereoscopes, I will link to a different video that I made showing an unboxing of a different one that I bought. So I do already have one. The reason I bought this is because it has this velvet, which mine does not have. The patent that's on the bottom says 1904. It's kind of impossible to read, so here's a little sketching. The only thing is, I look like I'm fending off a vampire. This metal here is a modern addition to reinforce the card holder, and the stereo card I got with it was crocodiles in Palm Beach, Florida. For something so old, this never gets old. Also, I didn't show on camera, but we bought these records, which are Orson Welles radio dramas. Next, it was time for a bookstore. My current routine at the bookstore is I go to the foreign language section, I look for any books I haven't read by my favorite writers, and then I spend a lot of time in the horror section making sure I read every single title. This book caught my eye, and I don't usually buy books just based on the cover. I know you're not supposed to do that, but something about it caught my attention. I also picked up a book I have not heard of, but by an author I've read before. I thought, why not? And strangely, in the clearance section, I came across the exact same book, but for less than half the price, so lucky me. So all in all, what I bought was The Fifth Child, Foe, and Many Lives, Many Masters. This was in the clearance section. A true story of a prominent psychiatrist, his young patient, and the past life therapy that changed both their lives. Why did I buy this, you might ask? I feel like I've heard of this before. The name rang a bell for me. And that's due to one of 2 reasons. 1, it is a famous book. Or 2, I've just seen it in so many clearance sections that when I saw it again, I was like, huh, I know that book. Regardless, could be interesting. Speaking of books, I have read a ton recently and I have them all around me at my feet, so I plan to make a video going through each one. Next up, it was time for lunch and this monstrosity of a Bloody Mary. Then we went to an antique mall. The first thing I see is some uranium glass, which I won't be buying any more of, but it's always fun to find. I got jump scared by this ghostly bride.
Kind of spooky.
I adore these old looking bottles, these things that look like they came out of a medical cabinet somewhere, but I'd have nowhere to put them, so
no, I shouldn't.
I came across a magic 8-ball. I immediately asked it a question and got my answer. Now it's your turn. Ask a yes or no question.
Outlook good.
Nice.
I mean, I kind of like this.
I love things like this, but I'm not gonna buy it today. Vintage Halloween stuff always catches my eye, but
so cute, so expensive.
Anytime I see shoes like this, I just fall in love. What are your thoughts on things like this?
So, Josh Hartnett,
Yeah, it's Josh Hartnett. This is really cool because everyone who's in here, their names are listed, so they're all identified. Katie, friend of Carrie.
I'm a huge sucker for beautiful lamps. I don't buy them, I just adore them from afar, and this was so pretty. I saw plenty more weird things, like this ferret with some baubles on his head, and this VHS which teaches you how to communicate with moose.
You had any idea how long I've wanted a unicycle? I'm unironically thinking about it. It's not the best condition, so maybe not.
This is a beaver top hat with a hat box that has a white star-lined sticker. I want what do I... Hanging on the wall was this beautiful portrait. The tag says that this woman burnt to death with her husband when a drunken cook poured kerosene on a stove. There was even a letter attached to the back that went into some more detail. I bought the portrait. I felt so sad reading her story. I'm not gonna take it out of the paper just yet, but no, I'm down a research rabbit hole. I hope to know more soon. What I've found out already is super interesting, and I will be a loving home for the portrait of this woman. We bought the 8-ball. We're going to use it to decide whether or not to order pizza. We also came across this photograph, which was in just a big drawer filled with miscellaneous photographs, and we couldn't figure out what was going on in it, and so we bought it. We're gonna put it on our fridge. So weird. We have one more stop. This store is so much fun to walk around. It genuinely has the most random stuff, whether it's leather hide or bottles or moss balls or paper mache masks.
I don't know, it has potential.
They have a lot of science supplies, and something about this aesthetic just calls to me. I don't know what it is, but I envision myself as like a mad scientist, and I want to buy every beaker, every Erlenmeyer flask, everything. Again, they have the most random stuff here. So out of everything there, what I bought were some microscope slides. Why? Because last year for my birthday, I got a microscope. But the slides that came with the microscope were pre-made and have like random things in them. But I want to look at stuff that I want to look at. That was about it, except we may or may not have stopped at one more bookstore where I saw this copy of Rosemary's Baby priced at $6.66, which I thought was funny. And I almost bought a book, but decided to just get it online instead. So, not bad for a day's work. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, share this video. Consider joining me over on Patreon where I post exclusive videos, close-ups of antiques, etc. Thanks again, and I will see you guys soon.